Hey, Tom here, Flip Anything. Uh, kind of going into a different topic than I normally do, but actually it's kind of related too at the same time. Um, I see a lot of people they don't have confidence, and it affects them in just about everything they do. And I went out with some friends the other day, and it kind of we kind of got back on the topic. Uh, just kind of relating to these guys, particularly, were looking at meeting girls and things, and uh, and it kind of just brought me back to remembering uh, those days, and uh, and now I'm wondering if I even have this thing going live or not. Let's see. Anybody there? Let's see. Oh my God, what do I got? This is not my normal time, I know, to be ever posted. Huh? We'll find out. So anyhow, bear with me a second here, and then I'll go. Let me see. All right. Okay, we're live. Okay, I see it now. All right. So what I wanted to talk about was uh, mostly I see people with no confidence when they should have confidence. And I know everybody struggles for it. I had some trouble when I was younger, and I'm talking like really young, like before I was 10. Came from a family, moved all the time. It was rough, starting a new school, not even at the beginning of the year. Anyways, stuff like that'll mess with you because you kind of lose your friends going from one school to another. You got to start over. You're constantly starting over, and it wasn't a lot of fun. But I see uh, young men, I see men over 50 that lack the confidence to just approach and talk to a girl, and they suffer socially, and it's painful for me to watch. And I try to counsel them some, and uh, and I can tell you, I figured it out really early. I did. I figured it out really early. I was a reasonably good-looking guy when I was younger, and but I wasn't the best-looking guy by any means. Wasn't in the best shape of everybody, but what I learned was the simple things. First of all, uh, like attracts like, and I'm not even sure that might even come from one of the Tony Robbins books, or I don't know what, but it's nothing new to me. I've read Think and Grow Rich. I've read all kinds of books, but the confidence thing is something that you really have to work at it to accomplish it, and it will serve you so well in making money in real estate and everything because it's all about having confidence to go up and talk to people, right? Well, girls, it's the same thing. You're kind of selling yourself, and it sounds kind of funny to put it that way to me, even, but really, what I can tell you, does anybody suffer out there? Does anybody suffer that social anxiety? I mean, I don't. I used to, and I can relate to it. I remember, I remember liking girls and like, just, gee, why would she like me, And, but, girls like the heart, and I think about yourself. For me, I like confidence. I do. It's a huge attraction. I like people that like themselves, and really, that's not about money. That's not about looks. That's just an inner power. And so, what I wanted to talk about, and one of the things I wanted to say is, so I'm going to talk to you right now as if you're somebody that maybe has that social struggle, that has a little problem approaching somebody they like. And what I would tell you is, uh, the safest, easiest thing if you're talking about a stranger, is simply compliment them on their taste. That could be their shoes. That could be, the girl's got a cool purse. Of course, pick the topic a little bit carefully. I mean, surely there should be something interesting, and don't say interesting. Don't say that looks interesting. Uh, and approaching sellers is kind of the same thing. So Parker, I think we might have talked about this the other day. The thing is talk to people like they're your friend already. Talk to them like they're your friend already. I'm not saying throw your arm around them, but you know, friendly. Look at them with confidence. Like you talk to a buddy or a girlfriend. You. It's like, and we can talk about real estate too. That's my favorite topic, but also there's a lot of parallels here. So like when I'm talking to a seller of a property, I don't insult them and bash the property and talk it down. I talk about the things that they probably like about the property. I'll say, hey, this is a beautiful lot. Hey, these are beautiful trees. In fact, the very property we're sitting on, I had conversations like that when I talked the person into selling me this place. And it's insulting to put down something that somebody has chosen, whether it's an article of clothing, whether it's the property they currently own that they maybe want to sell you. So don't go there. Don't go there. You're not gonna win anything. You're not gonna get any points doing that. So, but, and I'm trying to gear in this a little bit toward little bit of a new topic here, and that is just building your confidence with girls and or with approaching sellers. That's fine too. It's when you start the conversation, be complimentary. It's okay to like what they like. Okay, that's probably the easiest thing I can tell you right now. And don't let this go past you. Don't blow this off. This is not a small thing. This is a key thing to getting somewhere. When you're approaching somebody, sorry, I got two things going here. You want to let them know that you like what they like, and it could be a car. It could be the car they have. If you get on the topic of movies, you can talk about liking the same movies. The good thing is especially if you have some social anxiety and you have trouble talking, or maybe worry about keeping the subject going. If you find out what they like and get them talking about what they like, they're going to talk. They're going to talk, and it'll give you a bit of relief because you don't feel like you have to keep the conversation going. And I've fortunately the girls I've been attracted to throughout my whole life have always been nice girls. And I can tell you, nice girls like nice guys. That's just it. You don't have to be the most confident guys, but they like confidence too. In fact, so I can tell you one time I was in my CPA's office. I was probably 20, 21, and I had a business. I've been self-employed since I was 19. So I remember going in there, and there was a pretty lovely looking girl in the back of that my CPA's office, and I had my files. I was very much business. I was all business then, still. But I was back there talking, and some doofus came back there and started coming up, and I got my books open, and we're talking about some stuff that's a little bit, not for everybody's ears. And he starts, and I said, hey, do you mind? I go, we were, we're talking about something here. And he says, oh I'm sorry, and he walked away. And that girl, I think she fell in love with me from that one thing. And maybe because she didn't like the guy or whatever, but she immediately was just swooning almost. She was actually a married girl, young. But I remember running into her and her husband. They're very too young to be married, in my opinion. But anyways, and she starts talking about, oh, this guy's so great. He got his business, and this one guy came up and he just pushed threw him out, and she was relieved. She liked it. She liked the strength. Okay, so and really to me, I was just annoyed, and I'm focused on something, but I took it in. I remembered what she liked. I remembered what she liked because she was a beautiful girl too. And of course, her husband was a little annoyed with me now too, because she was so complimentary to me. But anyways, uh, so we'll talk about the real estate stuff, I guess, mostly here. So when I talk to a seller or anybody that I'm trying to gain rapport with, the first thing I'm going to do is try to find a common subject. You know, something I can talk about a lot of stuff, but you know, if I pull up and they got a cool car, I'll talk about that car. It could be an old car, it could be a new car. I like cars. You know, their home. You know, I know a bit about carpentry. I'm a carpenter, so you know, I can compliment them on the architecture of their home, or you know, I mean, you know, there's just a million things. You can like their yard. If they planted some new plants, you can say those are great looking. What are those plants? You know what I mean? That'll lead you into a whole new conversation. And again, but it's relative to meeting the woman in line at a Starbucks, just like it could be, you know, anywhere, anywhere. And it's important that you just always know that you don't have to have money, you don't have to be successful to feel good about yourself and engage somebody. Believe me, they're you know, if they're a good girl, they're gonna like you for just being a nice guy anyways, and you can build on that, because believe me, there's plenty of people that you know, that's the thing that's best about them is their heart, you know. And I don't think you want anybody want you for anything else anyways. So back to real estate. Uh, it's so important that when you do engage with somebody, that you ultimately you're going to get to business. And when you get to when you do have to start to work to the numbers on a deal, you want to get to those numbers not by criticizing the property, but more like by, you know, I've told you before, you put it on them. Well, what do you think it's worth? What is it worth to you? You know, what do you feel the property's worth? And now if you're talking a multifamily, you know, property or rental, or it could be a commercial property or whatever, ultimately, or maybe it's just a small home, you know, the way to get to a number is to justify how it's going to pay for itself with rents, right? With rents. And so, again, rather than talk about, uh, you know, rather than beat up the property to make it worth less, you want to just say, hey, how am I supposed to make the mortgage on this property with what's available from the income that's coming from this? Again, you're talking about it's business, and you're just trying to get the numbers without insulting, and it's just a fair question. You know, how, you know, you make it kind of our problem together. How do we solve this problem? But anyways, I want to tell you that uh, it's important to have confidence in every conversation you have. And like I say, part of the reason, if you're getting back to real estate, you have to know values. You got to know values. And that's where your confidence will come when you start to talk about real estate, is because you'll know the values. If you're just now starting to watch, listen, I've made a ton of money since I was 19 years old, and I do it all primarily with real estate. In fact, I got to tell you about my book. I wrote a book, okay? I wrote a book when I was about 28 years old, which was about 28 years ago now. And I never really released it as a book, but I actually turned it into a course way back when, and it was not a great time to do it. But anyways, I pretty much shelved it for all this time. And so I just recently went back and I've been reading it. And it's funny because at 28, I mean, I've made a ton more money since then, but I was already a millionaire then. But so much, I mean, reading it, it sounds just like me today. So it's funny, I really did pretty much have it down, even at 28. And that's when I'd already made my first million. And but I'm going to release that book. I'm going to release that book. What I'm torn right now is to just releasing the old books. That's pre-internet, right? That's before the internet. So there's a few things I need to probably put in there to update or whatnot. And actually, if you send me an email, I'm going to make sure you get the book for 99 cents. It actually was a course at one time I sold for $169. You know, all over the country for a brief while, but I decided that wasn't in my best interest, and so I pulled it, you know, way back when. But now it's good again. So the other thing is, and it kind of relates to the girls and it relates to buying property. Don't seem desperate. Never seem desperate. You know, you got to be able to walk away. You know, if somebody's not interested in selling, or if a girl acts like she's not interested in you, you know, just walk away. Walk away, because that's power. Nobody wants somebody needy. And believe me, people sense needy. You can sense needy. I mean, you can feel needy 30, 40 feet away in the same room. You just feel the eyes on you. Feel like, gee, what's going to happen here? Somebody's trying to talk to me about who knows what. Now, believe me, the girls got their radar out there too, and they can feel it. This guy's going to try to talk to me. You know what? Don't put out that vibe. Don't put out that vibe. You should not, she should not feel like you're going to try to talk to her until you're talking to her. You know what I mean? And same thing, you know, you're going to talk to somebody about the real estate. There shouldn't be that much hesitation. It should be walk up. Hey, let's talk about your property. You know what I mean? Rather than hovering out in the front yard before you come to the door to knock on the door. You know what I mean? Just walk up. And it's funny because it's one of the chapters in my book is, you know, it's funny. I've done videos on the subject already too, and I talk about it is you must know what value is. You must know what the value of the property is. Otherwise, you look like a fool when you go to ask somebody, what do they want to sell it for? And you don't know whether you can say yes or no. I mean, it's ridiculous. So you can't be unprepared. And we're throwing all over the subject, but like I said, this is a real estate. This is a real estate channel for making money as an investor. But we're not limited to that. But it's open mic. So anybody got any questions about anything? You know, just speak up. Speak up. Whatever you got, I'm open. I'm open for anything. We can talk about anything. It's funny because I got two boys. You know, they're about to be turned 15, and you know the girls are starting to like these guys, and they're starting to get that attention, and so it'll be interesting. Just kind of living life through their eyes again. You know, so you can bet I'll be having some of these conversations with them too. So is anybody making any deals? Is anybody working on something? That's the other thing, you know. You know, it's so important. This is actually a whole new topic, but I won't get on too much, but I will in another video. Don't waste your time dawdling. Make some money. Concentrate on what you want to do to make money. You know, I can't stand to watch sports. And it's not that I don't enjoy sports. I played sports. I played baseball 7 years in a row, and I've always, you know, I've done a lot of different sports just as a kid in general. You know, we put teams together and everything else. But I'm telling you, as an adult, I can't stand watching games. I can't stand watching millionaires play football while I'm sitting on my ass drinking a beer. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I just feel terrible when I do it. It's hard. It's hard, and because I see the camaraderie, and the camaraderie, you know, and even my kids, you know, I could if I immerse myself into sports, then so my kids would too, and but if they're in sports and they're not thinking about making money and they're watching millionaires while they're drinking and wasting their life, I just can't do it. I can't do it. And I know some of you love sports. A lot of people, everybody that knows me knows I can't stand it. I just can't watch them. So let's see what we got here. Some questions. Brandon, I've been working on this deal for a while. I think it's a good commercial residential. Dude, I don't know. I mean, Brandon, when you say, can I help? I mean, that's what I'm doing right now, I hope. What do you need help with? What are you talking about? And tell me about your deal. Don't give away your location. I don't want anybody sniping your deal. But what's the problem? I mean, it's simple math, right? I mean, if you know what it's worth, presumably you got a deal to buy it for less. Otherwise, you got nothing. I mean, unless you've got something in writing that says you can buy it for X, and that X, you know, there's a nice fat margin of profit when you close the deal, or it's so attractive that, you know, somebody's going to be tempted to take it, you know, off your hands for a you know, a finder's fee. I mean, I can't tell you if I can help you or not. I mean, I think the videos speak for themselves. But man, I'm here, so let's hear it. Okay, so you think about that, compose something, we'll look at it for everybody. And Parker, okay, Parker says, I found a property that is delinquent on their taxes, a multi-use property in South Louisiana, selling my single-family property. Planning to start up some kiosk, which will do really well. Okay, well, Parker, you're off to a good start. Parker's talking about having $160,000 clear after he sells a house he owns. I don't know what you paid for it, Parker, but you've certainly got some capital to work with. I mean, if you got that much to work with, then you're in great shape. I mean, and like I say, you can do it with zero too, folks. You just have to, $500, or find somebody with a little bit of money. So back to Brandon for a second. Trying to find buyers. I have it under contract. It's in the corner of a busy four-way. Okay. Oh, Parker, Los Angeles. Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, I know LA well. I've owned over 100 properties in Los Angeles, in LA County. So I'm sure you'll do well. Although I can't stand I can't stand a lot of things about California, but one of the things I do like is I like property taxes in California. They hold them to what they were purchased for, which is very, very helpful. It allows you to plan. Okay, so you got a $378,000 purchase. Well, you say they're delinquent. I don't know. Well, I hope you make some money on it. I'm not sure exactly what you got going, but the kiosk thing sounds interesting. A lot of ways to get some bread and butter. I mean, I'll tell you, once you get, folks, if you have a business going, and it doesn't even matter, you gotta have a really great job. You gotta have a really great job. That's cool too. If you can have a job that you have the freedom. That was one thing. I was self-employed with a cabinet shop, and even though I wasn't making that much money with my cabinet shop, I had freedom. I made cards that said I buy homes for $50,000, under $50,000. I gave that to every agent I could run into, and once in a while I'd get a call. But guess what? When that phone rang, I dropped everything and moved. I was gone right over there immediately. I'd go straight to it, and that's why it's so important to know value. If you know value, boom, you can just drop everything, go over, say I'll take it, sign the deal. Now, the last 4 houses I've bought, I think I've showed you guys, it doesn't take me. I know when I'm standing outside the house, I'm gonna buy this thing. If I can I know when I'm standing outside before I even go inside. If it looks as good as it does on the outside, I'm gonna buy it. And that ability to make a decision immediately is power. It's the most power you could possibly have, and it's what's necessary to make a lot of money quickly, because otherwise you're just going to be like a deer in the headlights, and you're going to go, I got to figure it out if it's a good deal. Somebody else already walks in. Me, if I come in, I'm going to take it right away from me. Somebody else is too, that's for sure. So let's get back to some of these questions. Yeah, Brandon. Man, I'd rather you talk about it here. I mean, you can send me something, but I mean, to be honest, it sounds like you don't know. You're just saying it's on a corner. I mean, the numbers should tell you whether it's a good deal or not. I don't care what the traffic count is. That's not relative. It's relative to what you're paying for it. Whatever you're paying for it, it's got to be worth less. And I'm getting the feel here that you don't really know. And that may be why you can't find a buyer, because if you can't demonstrate that, then maybe the property's not worthy of being such a good deal. Because I can tell you right now, you don't need to talk to me or have an email with me over this, because the bottom line is, if it's worth $200,000 and you're buying it for $150 or $125, okay, it's a great deal, buy it. But there's got to be a reason it's worth that, right? And you should have the facts to support that. And because if you don't, otherwise, you could be in a devastated area that doesn't have any work, where everybody's unemployed, stuff like that. Well, okay, don't use commercial comps. Does it rent? Does it collect? Is there rent? Is there any money coming in? Or is it empty? What do you got? Tell me what you got. Nobody, I mean, don't give away the address or the exact location. I don't want you to do that. But uh, I mean, it's pretty simple if a property's making money or not. You can kind of come up with a value that way. But you're right. Commercial comps aren't always the easiest to find, especially uh, they're kind of all over the place. But really, the bottom line is just start with a 10 cap. If you have it, if you paid cash for it, would it bring you a return? Of 10 cents on the dollar after all expenses, or 20 cents on the dollar. Which is what I look for. That's what you gotta. That's what I like to have. So Parker, yeah, that sounds interesting, Parker. Yeah, I mean, man, yeah. I rented a beach house in Manhattan Beach. I'll be going there in a couple of weeks, and I like property. I stay at the beach quite often with my family. Uh, yeah, Hermosa, and we love all the beaches all over the country, but Manhattan Beach is on the schedule. uh, so what else? Anybody got anything else going? Vacant lots, easy money on vacant lots, especially if you can spot a vacant lot in your neighborhood. Like I say, concentrate on your neighborhood. Or if you see somebody that has like a really big lot for one home, chances are they got a double lot. And as long as they park the home on one of them, they may have the ability to sell the other. So look for things like that. Those are opportunities that are just kind of waiting for you. Uh, but anyways, so I was trying something new here just because I seen some friends of mine at Starbucks today that were just crying the blues on meeting girls, and it's just such an easy thing to do. Yeah, Parker, it's possible, but uh, uh, maybe I'll probably do some sort of podcast from there, trying to just hang with my kids more than anything. But I appreciate the offer, but maybe. You can throw me an email, tom@FlipAnythingUSA.com. But, okay, so Brandon. Oh, okay. Brandon, you've got, it's a duplex. What is ARC? What does ARC mean? I don't know what that means. Am I following you right? It's a duplex, which ARC is 130. I mean, and you can. Well, so you're talking about buying it for about 17% under market. Doesn't sound like a deal to me. Yeah, no. Wait a minute now. Next door property is commercial, residential zone. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what your property zone. You're telling me what the zoning is of the stuff next door to you, but you're not telling me what the property, the subject property is zoned. What is your property zone? Anyways, and again, you're not telling me what I need to know. What? How much money is it bringing in? Is it bringing in any money? It's just not enough information there. You really, uh, listen, being next to a commercial property, if you're residential, is not really a bonus. It's kind of a negative. So, but if you're commercial property next to a commercial property, that's a different story. But, all right. Well, anyways, guys, I'm going to cut it here right now. Battery's getting low, and I got some things to do too. But thanks for tuning in. And Parker, like I said, throw me an email, and possible. I don't even know my exact schedule, but number one thing is just relax and hang with the kids. Okay, Ray here jumped in. Ray says, I have a property in Arizona under contract. Seller lives in California, does not want anyone on the property, and wants buyers to buy as is. What do I do? Well, I like everything that you've said so far, except you didn't tell me how much and how much it's worth. So that's the main thing. What's it worth? Uh, but I love, I mean, it sounds like the makings of a good deal. Okay, so it's worth 80K. What do you have it under contract for? How much? Is it in good shape? Can you tell? I mean, I've bought homes without ever going inside. Oh, well, hell, man, that's great. Congratulations. So is there any issues? Anything you're concerned about? Is it owner carried? Or do you have a loan lined up? So it needs some repairs. Like what kind of repairs? Let me tell you something. Probably there's a lot of superficial stuff you can fix. Paint, replace some glass here and there, that sort of thing. But if the cabinets are decent, the countertops are intact, but always check your plumbing. You know what? It's rare. Drywall needs repair. Yeah. Yeah, drywall and texture and paint. That's not too bad. Doesn't seem terrible. Not if you're buying it for half of what it's worth. But what I was going to say is check the plumbing. And when I say check the plumbing, I'm talking about the draining. So sometimes one of the best things you can go do is just go grab water hose, turn the water on full blast, and stick it down the drain for the washer dryer. Just get the maximum amount of water pressure you can, just blowing down into that drain, and let it run for a few minutes, okay? And see if it doesn't back up. Because if it does back up, it could be an indication of roots. It could be an indication of a breach in the line where there's mud and stuff like that. Because that's one that I have overlooked before, and I've paid a price for it. And let me tell you, when you're having to take a house and you're cutting 2-foot wide trench or 18-inch wide trench, all the way down the hallway, into the bathrooms, into the kitchen, all over and then you got to go back and repair all that stuff, tie your rebar back together, and pour concrete and dirt after you get it all plumbed again. It's not much fun. But anyways, the only good thing is that the plumbing's good when you're done. But that is not a fun job, and it's an expensive lesson. So, but yeah, for sure I would do that and you can always run a camera. These guys got cameras now that are so cool and so easy. If you do have an issue like that, they can run a camera from somewhere within the house all the way out to the street or vice versa. Because it's real important. This house that I had such a problem with, what they did is they just didn't put enough fall on the pipes, and there was actually a little bit of a bend, so it constantly held water, and it just eroded heavily. It was this cast iron. Yeah, no problem, Ray. And so it eroded out, and then it'd get clogged. So you have the constant water, constant erosion, and then they're having the plumber come out, and then he's running a roto-rooter in it with a blade, and eventually it cut through the wall and damaged and broke down the whole pipe, and pretty soon it's a pipe going into a mud pocket, a hole, and then going back out the pipe again, and because that's what ends up happening. It turns into like being a cavern. The pipe kind of breaks, turns into a cavern, and then goes back into the pipe again. And then if you don't have roots, you're going to have mud and rocks and everything else. So, anyways, good for you, man. Sounds good. Congratulations on that deal. Sounds like a nice one. Something like that, you flip and you got 40 grand or 50 grand. It's a beautiful thing, and I've been doing it forever, and it never gets old. It's always fun. So I'm gonna go. Anyways, thanks everybody. Brandon, get more details on that stuff, Brandon, and you can send me something. But you know, and that's okay. I get excited and I get ahead of myself. I kind of feel like maybe you are too, a little bit, maybe not. But uh, 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 anyways, I'm glad you're trying, Brandon. Do it, make it happen, and because you'll get more confidence. You know, the more you get going, and the more you know. And yeah, thanks, Parker. Thanks, Parker. And yeah, and that's all of you on that plumbing. Always run that. You know, when you think of it, do it. I don't always do it, but and most times it's not a problem, but I've been burned twice. I've had an issue like that now. But that's out of a lot of property. But still, it'll catch you off guard. It's an expensive problem. So, Flip Anything, be sure to share and subscribe, and if you would please send me an email, Tom at FlipAnythingUSA, and even if you just say hello, don't worry, you'll be on the list. You'll be able to get the book for 99 cents. What I'm going to do is when I release the book, I'll let everybody know that there'll be a short period they can get it for only 99 cents. This is good. It brings the numbers up on it. It gets more attention as a release. So that's the plan. But anyways, have a good night, and thanks for hanging out. Bye.